It was an FA Cup final for the ages. Crystal Palace winning their first major trophy. And so in this podcast, we want to talk about one of the most one-sided FA Cup finals of all time. And I'm not talking about on the pitch. I'm talking about off it. Crystal Palace fans, the media, everyone was kind of behind Crystal Palace. So why was that? How did it feel? And what are the ripple effects of this seismic day at Wembley for Crystal Palace and their fans? I am joined by Dan from HLTCO, or Dan is HLTCO, to go through it all. How are you feeling?
Elated, mate. Genuinely, I've never felt like this in my life.
Yeah.
The prolonged sense of just contentment. So I'll go back a week because there was a clip put up on a Palace podcast. Doc Brown, I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Course, yeah.
He's actor, rapper, multiple talents. And he was on a Palace pod. And he was saying, like, if we lose, I know what that feels like. There's a blueprint for that. We've done that. I'll be gutted, but I'll get over it. If we win, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what it's going to feel like. What do we do? Do I change my name? Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And I put it up and was like, I know you've probably seen the Alan Shearer tweet. It was like, what do we do if Alan Shearer turns up on Match of the Day one time and he's just got a full head of hair and refuses to accept that he was ever bald? And then the comment was, is there a plan in place for that? I was like, that's what this is. This is like, what do we do? And a Newcastle fan responded to me and went, I can't guarantee you'll be the same as me. But when we won, obviously they beat Liverpool in the League Cup final. I thought I was going to be like running around crazed. He said this wash of contentment came over me. He said, I sat on a bench at King's Cross for 3 hours, just sat there. And that, at the time, I'm thinking, yeah, but it literally is like that. You know, I still stayed out until 4 a.m. and...
You just don't want that day to end.
Genuinely, we were in a pub, right, in Crystal Palace, and it got to like closing time. And I was like, there's no way I'm going home. Because even though it doesn't end, and even though like we've got Wolves home tonight and then Liverpool last day and then the parade's on the bank holiday Monday. So there's all these things. But that initial burst of like, I can't believe we have done this.
Yeah.
I didn't want those endorphins to go away.
Yeah.
And I stayed out until I was physically done.
Yeah, like, it's a sort of because it's your cup final, isn't it? Like I think that's what's so weird about this whole situation and how everyone can I think there's a level of empathy with this cup final and with Crystal Palace that I don't think I've seen it like this, even with Newcastle, because I think, and it's not a competition, but like with Newcastle, it was sort of on its way a bit more.
Happen. Yeah. Because of the money, because of the backing. Like, a lot of people have said to me, I think this has brought the magic of the cup back. And obviously, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I'm always going to feel like that because it's us.
Yeah.
But the way that we've done it, you know, let's go back to the middle part of last season. When Oliver Glasner came in, we weren't staring down a barrel of relegation, but we were dicing with it. You know, Roy Hodgson had come back a second time and it had fallen flat and he was, you know, well too old and he'd got ill and there was all this, not bad sentiment towards Crystal Palace, but this sense of like, oh, you've kept him in a job too long and now you're binning him off.
But even like last time you were here, we spoke about being 12th and there's so many elements there to like, but there's still this sort of, when there's that sort of stasis, if that's the right word, like that equilibrium, that you don't want equilibrium. You wanted something to make it worth the investment. Do you know what? On the way here, I have watched so many, and I catch myself every so often going, why am I watching all this Palace stuff? I think I know exactly why. And Glasner kind of summed it up I watched his team talk afterwards. And he said because I'm very big on the power of sport.
It's huge, mate.
It's so huge. And the life lessons it can bring you of how to live your life, like quite literally. And Glasner said that, he said, if that's what this is about, you invested in this.
In yourself.
And when you invest in things, you get the return, you get the reward. And I thought, wow, I think that's why I'm watching all these things. And that was my first cup final. I've never been to a cup final. Which
Have you never been?
No, and the week before, I'd realised oh, I'm going to the cup, and I knew I was going to the cup for like a month
You
or
sort
so.
of deeped it, like
Yeah, but I've never been to an FA Cup final because, of course, I haven't, because QPR have not got
yeah, but
there.
you could have gone there as a neutral at other points.
Sure, but yeah, but then being there and sat watching your fan base, it was honestly, it hit me a few different times in a few different ways. Of like, I'm watching a dream. The colours are wrong.
Yeah, I
The
get it.
colours
Yeah.
are wrong.
I mean, you had the playoff final, Zamora,
Yeah.
but
But do you know what? This is different. And
Yeah.
do you know why this is different? This is different because your team that you have invested and invested and invested in, and 60% of the world's fans kind of turn their nose up at you whenever they talk to you about your club, or there's a glaze over their eyes, all things that we've discussed in the past. Saturday, it was Saturday, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and we're recording this on Tuesday. You are the centre of the world.
Yeah.
And that is worth all the investment. And I would imagine it's very overwhelming.
It's incredible, mate. I'll be honest. A lot of the build-up centered around me, and I haven't really caught it, but I spoke about it. Like, I was offered this TV thing, and it was a situation where I wasn't going to be able to sit with my parents and my friends. And I knew deep down I was never going to do it, but I sort of needed the validation of people on social media to be like, mate, come on. Like, and I didn't do it. But then I went on the overlap last week, and Jamie Carragher brought it up out of the blue and asked me what I decided to do. This is before the final, and I said I was sitting with my mates and stuff. And then they clipped it up. And obviously, you know, the full-time whistle, I was with a group of 95 lads. My mum and dad and my wife were in it, but there was 95 of us. And I made a beeline.
Where was that?
So if you've got the end, I was off to the side, lower tier, about row 35, I think.
Nice, right in the
But
middle.
yeah, I made a beeline for him. And obviously, whenever you hug your dad, it's special. But it was just because he's 67, 68 years old. He wants this just as badly. I'm not joking. There were people around me. A guy called Adrian, he's my mate Sam's dad. And I don't know if I can swear on this podcast. If I can't, I'll beat it out, whatever.
Fuck.
Yeah, he just said, he come up to me, tears in his eyes, and he went, Dan, I've wanted this for 57 fucking years, mate.
Wow.
And he's crying. I'm crying up. I'm thinking about it now.
I'm a bit worried about this pod now.
No, I'm not gonna go. But everywhere, Jim, there are people just sobbing. And it's not because of them, it's because of their relatives and the people that got them into it. A mate of mine, Liam, right? He said to me, I was driving back from the overlap last week, got to the services at Oxford, sent a voice note to my mates, and he said, my grandparents lived 2 minutes away from Selhurst when I was a little kid, and they used to take me, and my granddad had Parkinson's, and he used to get sideways looks off people all the time because he was shaking and everything, but it didn't stop him going in, and it was the thing that I did with my granddad. And even when he couldn't get tickets, he used to go with me to walk outside Selhurst to soak up the atmosphere on big games. And that's the person I'm going to be thinking about. And every single Palace fan had a story like that because none of us, whether you're 100 or 5, none of us had ever seen this, Jim.
Yeah.
So it's, when I say if we never win anything again, I mean it. Like, obviously, my little boy is 6. I would love nothing more than for this to be the start of a new era and us go and win numerous FA Cups and go into Europe and succeed there. But if we don't, I'm calm. This sense of contentment, I don't think it's going to go away.
Yeah, because I think it's the potency of that, isn't it? And back to that investment, I think that's the thing here. I think that's why I'm watching all these things, and it's not. Someone told me off in the comments, and whoever you are, you're right. I was saying I'm going to put jealousy to the side, and I was kind of being sort of jokey. It's not jealousy. I'm so happy for you and Finn, who sadly can't be here today. He's obviously absolutely bouncing off the walls, and my mate Mike, and all those people that have Jim Daly I've known for years and years. Like, you've just got a connection with all these people. But like on a personal note, and I think I looked at your video the other day, yesterday, and I think there's a comment from a Dundee fan. There's like I just want that investment to pay off. And I'm very patient with QPR, but after Saturday I was like, come on now, like come on, because to your point, like the excitement of what if, but then the potency to get your hands on it is just so powerful and it's such a weird thing to articulate, and it makes you look at what we do, but in terms of being fans of football clubs, in two ways. In one way, you're like, this is ridiculous, but in the same breath, the privilege of like having that, of being able to grab anyone around you and hug them with that instant ecstasy, which in most sports, even like, like I've equated the final to if it was a boxing match, Man City win on points, right?
Yeah, they do.
And there's no jeopardy. That's not the fucking sport.
No. And that's the bit we had one shot.
Yeah. And we could talk about the game a little bit. It's not too important, really. But like, Eze was bad. Eze was poor. The team defended like heroically, and I'm dare even say it. But like, it doesn't matter.
Do you know what? The Dean Henderson handball, right? So many, not so many, a few of my mates, West Ham fans, one of them don't even support a team really. He just sort of floats around. How fucking lucky was that? And I literally said, I do not care. Yeah. There is not a single part of me, and I mean this, like, you know what it's like, tribalism on social media and everything else. I don't care. Like, it's not even a case of me pretending I don't care. I just don't care. Because we've had so many of those dodgy calls down. If it's going to be one dodgy call, I'll take it all day long. Yeah. You know, and I was just going to say, like, so we obviously had the 10 minutes added, and you're watching that. We're at the other end to where City are attacking.
I saw that as well. That is the worst.
And you know what it's like, the depth perception in grounds, right? It's a huge pitch and it's a huge stadium, right? Yeah. And you're watching the ball. I mean, I don't know how many times Jeremy Doku was faced up Daniel Munoz on that. It's insane. Probably 40 across the 90 minutes. Yeah. And every time the ball's gone towards the box, you're just waiting for the net to ripple. And every time it didn't. And I'm looking at the clock, because now they've got a situation where they put the added time up. They used to just put 90 and you'd have to sort of guess how long it's got. You're watching the time tick down. And every time you're thinking, just another 4 minutes, just another 3 minutes. Got to 99:30 and the ball went behind for a goal kick. And I'd been stood there behind this barrier. My arms on the barrier, like it's just holding it together, barely. Right? It went to 99:30 and I was like, Dean's going to take 20 seconds. And then he's going to lump it. Yeah. And it's going to be done because the ref can't add on any time after the 10, right? Yeah. And as soon as the ball went behind him, I went down on my knees, on my haunches, and just sobbed. Yeah. It's because...
Why are you... So, I don't know if you can articulate. Why are you crying?
Because
I keep tearing up with all these things and I can't understand why I'm crying.
It's for me. I'm being genuinely selfish. It's for me. It's for my dad. It's for everyone I know. Not just Palace fans either. And I know this sounds like I'm trying to be all happy clappy. If you're a City fan, and City fans would be happy if they won the FA Cup. They weren't even going to have a parade, right? Now that's because of the success they've had. Which is kind of
understandable.
Like, yeah, right? I'm not saying they should.
Yeah.
But I said to you when you walked into the studios just a minute ago, everyone deserves to feel this once in their life. Because to be quite honest, I mean, as I said, my little boy's 6. I hope that he goes on and sees Palace across his whole life win countless things. Yeah. Nothing will feel like this. For me, we've climbed the mountain. You know, and Leicester fans will have felt like this when they won the FA Cup or they won the league. It doesn't matter what happens now. They've done it. They've seen it with their own 2 eyes. And my granddad and, Adrian, who I mentioned, and my mate Liam's granddad, he didn't see that. But someone said it this morning. I saw a thing. And he said, my granddad, different guy, used to take me and loved Palace. And I realised, even though he's not here anymore, he's still here in me. So he's seen it by me. Yeah. And it's that passing down. Yeah. Because as I've said on numerous videos, you don't support Palace in the pursuit of glory. You'd be an idiot, right? You would, right? So you do it either because you are proud of South London and where you come from, or because a parent or a grandparent, an uncle, an auntie, a mate has taken you and planted that seed. And if you choose to follow this club, you are swimming up tide. You're doing that on purpose. So by definition, you're a bit weird because you could easily... I live in Carshalton, right? Everyone supports Chelsea. Everybody. Yeah. If you choose to do that, fine. If you choose to support Palace, you are... And my dad said this to me, and I appreciate I'm rambling.
No, thank God you're talking because I'm struggling to keep it together.
But for like 68 years, right? Whether he's at school, whether he's gone into work, offices or in pubs, walks into these places and people look down their nose at Palace. Palace. Why are you supporting Palace? Oh, you never do anything. And now he said, you best believe for the next 3-4 months, I am not shutting up. I am everywhere.
Yeah.
And there's nothing anyone can do to stop me. I don't care if they're bored. I am going to do this because we deserve it, mate.
Yeah, no, that's it. I think that's what I mean. It's sort of to exactly that point, and 80% of football fans that that are going to games, and I'm not saying one fan's better than the other, but the point is that when you invest that amount of time to go to the games, and you're not winning, there are several moments where you're like, "What am I doing? What am I doing?" But do you know what, but I think that's why it hits me as well, and I think probably why I can't imagine that day. And then when you hear all the stories and you see like, the old blokes sort of bawling their eyes out, or the guy from the podcast who's talking about his granddad, and it's like he did see it because he saw it from my eyes. You kind of go, my dad said something to me at the start of the year, and he teared up, and he was talking about it's like you see all the moment. We've got all our QPR moments like along the wall, and he says it's funny that you realise they're not. That's not Zamora's moment.
It's your moment.
It's your moment.
He's made you do that.
Yeah, and so you just want, but you're happy to pay in. You just want as many as possible. Just one more as well. I got home and I got a bit teary moments because I was just like, God, I'd love one more of those at Wembley. But then I think to reach, with it being the FA Cup, to be the centre of the world, I think that's the difference. For QPR, with what we've really struggled with, and every fan will have their one. For us to get to, say, like a playoff final and get back into the Premier League would be near it.
Yeah,
but then
we've done it, and it's not the same.
But but then this is, and do you know what's crucial as well? I think, and wonderful. It's Man City. It's a proper team.
Well, someone said to me, and I appreciate the way social media is. Oh, you've had an easy run. Bollocks. All right. Stockport, Doncaster, Millwall. Millwall's still a South London derby. That's the definition of a banana skin and the worst sort, right?
Yeah.
We went to Fulham in a quarter-final, blew them off the pitch.
Yeah.
Right? That's a Premier League side, away from home, in a quarter-final, 3-0, wasn't even a contest. Played Villa in the semi, a Champions League knockout team who came very close to pushing PSG out of the competition. They're in the final, right? We battered them. It wasn't just a smash and grab. We won 3-0. We missed a penalty. Tyreek Mitchell missed a sitter. Jean-Philippe Mateta has had a very perfectly good goal, in my opinion, ruled out. Right. It could have been 5-0.
Yeah.
And against City, 2-3 months on from losing 5-2, having had a 2-0 lead, and Oliver Glasner saying to Pep Guardiola at full time, if you do that again, we will solve it. We've gone and kept a clean sheet across 103 minutes.
Yeah.
It's nuts, Jim.
But also I think there's like this idea of like picking, you've got to pick apart like those kind of victories. Where's the shake hands and go, do you know what? It was because in the stadium you went, I thought the first 10 minutes I was thinking, oof, City look all right here. I was
sure it was.
Yeah, and there was a very clear plan by Palace in terms of their setup, but in terms of getting out, you couldn't really.
No.
But then of course the break happens and the goal happens, and then there's one or two saves and then the penalty, and then once the penalty happens, there's something really magical about it. It's our day. It's our turn. There's something poetic and wonderful about that. That you don't need to look any closer than that. No. And I think because we're recording this before the Europa League final, and I think there's a really, and not for all, and for everyone who's really enjoying it. I know someone like Ben Bowman, who's a wonderful Spurs creator. He'll be there, and he'll be fucking excited. But to a lot, and to everyone around it, there's this sort of there's an ugliness to this final.
Yeah, I don't see it like that.
And it's I think just people need to get out of their own way a little bit.
I feel like, and I'm on social media all the time, right? I think we've reached a point, and I think it's a lot about social media because it hasn't been around society-wise that long, right? It goes through stages. When it was first around, everyone was nice to each other. Someone said to me before, especially with Blue Sky, this is like the departure lounge at an airport where everyone doesn't know each other on a stag do. And everyone's being like, you all right, mate? Have a good weekend. You've got to wait 3 days until someone's, I don't know, pissed in someone's bed, and it's like, what are you doing? And Twitter now is at the point where everyone's like 40 years deep into a marriage. And it's like, oh, you remember when you said that? And the back and forth over the dinner table.
Just everywhere, isn't it?
And that leads to such a level of vitriol that anyone, and I try to be as positive about the game in general because I just love football, right?
Yeah.
Anyone who does that is seen as like, oh, stop being so saccharine sweet.
On the comments, there was a couple of people who went, what even is this video? I thought I got a cab from the FA Cup and I went, I'm just going to sit down and talk. And there's a few people that went, what even is this? And I was like, a previous me would have gone, oh, fuck, did I
go too far?
No, I went, do you know what? That's on you, mate.
Yeah,
like, that's
your bitterness.
That's your lack of understanding. I'd rather be me. That I know that, oh, God, I would love that. And I can appreciate that. Because that is the power of sport.
Mm.
That is the power of this game. I'm so pleased. I'm so fucking lucky to have the opportunity to dedicate my life to. So the least I can do is find the best bits in it.
Yeah, man.
Like, so this sort of like, yeah, this sort of anger about sort of the level of celebration or the level of,
or from your point of view as a neutral, it's like,
just
don't become one of them just because you've seen it. But you're not becoming one of us.
Yeah,
you're just having admiration of what you've seen.
Yeah, I think just you can. It's called empathy. Like you can align with these things and enjoy it. And this is the most one-sided FA Cup final I've ever seen. I'm not talking about the pitch. I'm not talking about it. I'm talking about everyone's feeling around it. Yeah. I'm looking at. There's a bit where I think it's on ITV's Unscripted. Palace score, and I think it's got to be Lee Dixon and Ali McCoy high five each other.
Really,
the Rangers guy and the Arsenal guy, like, and I was very fortunate.
So that's anti-City sentiment.
Maybe. But I was there. I was there pitch side and.
You weren't in the stands. You were on the side of the pitch.
So actually, I've told anyone. There's only one person who knows this. But so we did for the BBC series I'm doing. We revealed we had the last episode, so we had to do a thing pitch side, which was surreal. Yeah. It's like everyone was there.
You've never been to a final, and then
there was in front of them there, like in a suit. Yeah, it's mad. And then like. Well, thank God Nedham's there. Yeah. So I was like, Nedham, come here, right now.
Please help me in this moment.
And then Clinton Morrison, who I know from the kickoff days, million years ago.
Lovely bloke.
Such a good guy. See him. Then John Solarco rocks up and I'm a bit shook because I'm like, oh my God. And he looks incredible.
I know, he looks about 25.
It's ridiculous. And then Dion Dublin as well. I got done by, I was like, oh my God, that's Dion Dublin. Anyway, all these people. Actually, I haven't even said the big ones. Like Micah Richards was there. Yeah. Wayne Rooney was there as well. So we were pitch side. So we had a pass for pitch side. And then we had our seats and we watched the game. And then I got a message from someone saying, after 30 minutes, our pass lets us go pitch side again. I was like, oh my God.
In the game?
What, celebrations, for the celebrations.
No way.
Yeah. So I went, wicked. So I just started going down and I'm like flashing. And I thought, I'll video call my mate Mike. So I video called him as I'm going down and just flashing it and making my way in. And then I've got onto the pitch. And then I'm like, okay, which way should I go now? And whilst I'm sort of video calling, but he can't hear me, and rightly and understandably so, the security guys have gone, you look shifty as anything. Because I'm just like here with my phone all excited. And they basically just pushed me back off, kicked me off.
Got a bit too hyped.
I did get a little bit too hyped. But yeah, it was incredible. In terms of the ripple effects of this and what can happen for Crystal Palace now, I think the first thing I want to touch on is what do you believe are the kind of the real reasons why Palace won the FA Cup? I've got a few written down here, some of which I think are okay, but I think there's other elements at play. We have touched on Dean Henderson, first and foremost. I do think I called it the Eze final, obviously, because he got the goal, and he's my boy. But Henderson, the saves were outstanding. One in particular, I don't think anyone's touched on it enough. Doku. The Doku one.
Up our end.
Up your end, yeah. So Doku's cut on onto his right foot and he's had a shot and it was going top corner. But what Dean Henderson did, which I don't know if you spotted it, but from my angle you could see it really well, was he went towards the ball to sort of look to cut that angle, which I was lucky enough, I was watching it with Troy Dean and he was saying that's a strategy to sort of, if you imagine the ball, the angle of being able to score a goal, getting wider and wider the further back you are, by getting closer to it, it gives you a chance. But in the moment, it looked a bit odd.
Because keepers normally just stand set.
Yeah, exactly. But he was superb.
A man possessed.
Yeah. Do you think that could allow him to kind of kick on, get the spotlight, and push Pickford a little bit?
Look, with Dean Henderson, it's a very I say strange. We obviously had Sam Johnston before. Sam Johnston's a very good goalkeeper.
A lot of good goals, isn't it?
And we had him. He came in on a free, and he was doing very well. We used to sing a song for him. He was loved at Palace, right? And we spent 20 odd mil on Dean Henderson, and a lot of fans were like, "What are we doing?
We need to do this.
Why are we doing this?"
Yeah.
Right? But the strategy all along, and I've been told this from, I won't say who, someone I trust at the club who's very influential, was, look, we got Sam Johnston for nothing. We'll sell him. We'll make profit on that deal. Dean Henderson will come in and he will be our number one for 10 years. And all the Palace fans, including myself, were like, is there that much difference between them? Because to be quite honest, you can't, until you've seen a goalkeeper in your colours, you don't know.
Yeah,
right?
goalkeeper in particular.
Like, he is unbelievable, mate.
Really?
Like in his mentality,
Yeah,
I keep on coming back.
personality.
I keep on coming back to the mentality of this group. They are all, I wouldn't say they're all leaders, but they all have total belief in themselves.
Yeah.
In different ways. You've got Maxence Lacroix has come in. He was saying from the quarter-final stage, we will win this competition. And we're like, you know that it's a Black Panther, mate. He's like, whoa, we don't do that here. That's how I felt. I was like, don't, because this is going to come back at us and we're going to get rinsed on social media. And he's like, no, unshakable. The Tifo said, when we win, Wembley will shake and it will be beautiful.
Yeah.
That is what he said, I think, after the quarter-final. Wembley will shake and it will be beautiful.
Oh, it's his line. Wow.
And this is a guy who's been here for 1 year. And he is fully bought in. And I mean, I'm not a religious guy. I am the definition of an agnostic person. I don't not believe in it. I don't believe in it. I'm like, live and let live. This group has a lot of religious lads in it. Ebbs, Munoz, Lacroix, Ward, Sarr. And it's not, my whole perspective on religion and faith in general is that if it gives you this sense that you are destined for something, like Joel Ward is, I'm going to tell this story, right? Joel Ward came in 2012. We're near the bottom of the Championship, coming from Portsmouth for 400 grand, 21-year-old, 22-year-old kid. Had no real knowledge of whether we would go up or not. A year later, he's in the right place at the right time to clear a ball off the line in a playoff final with a minute left of extra time. Right, he's there. He's put there. He don't even know why he's there. He said this before. He just happened to be there. He's cleared the ball off the line. We win the playoff final. He spends 12 years with the club in the Premier League, sets him and his family up for life financially. And on the last, well, not the last game, because he'll play tonight, I'm sure, but the last 2 or 3 games of his entire professional career, potentially, as captain, he gets to lift the FA Cup. If you're a religious person and that happens, you'd go, there you go. And who can blame anyone for feeling like that? And Maxence Lacroix and Mark Gay and all these Ebbs. Faith, whether or not it's God, whether or not it's some higher power, if you believe you are destined for this stuff, it will give you that resolve in those difficult moments to be like, no, this is going to happen. And it doesn't sound ridiculous to you because you believe it through some magic, not magical, but you know what I mean? It's like a higher...
No, it's faith. It's the word. That's the word.
And that's what it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's like Cristiano Ronaldo's form of faith, where it's like, I am the greatest and I will prove it to you, or you believe in God, or you believe in anything. It's faith in something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, and then it doesn't have to be, you don't have to see it as grit. You can see it as faith.
Yeah, almost I'm destined for this.
Yeah, and how poignant is that as well? Like you say, that, and again, this is, I think it's such a lesson that Ward winning the FA Cup that's so iconic. Whereas if Man City had won, I'm not trying to have a go at Man City, but like if it's another one,
it means
less.
It's like every time another 1 or 2% of the meaning gets chipped away, and that's not anyone's fault.
Yeah,
it's the consequence of success.
But that's it. Like people need to be careful. I think we all have that. It sounds so over the top. Like you do have a little bit of a responsibility to kind of let people have their moments. Let things mean something. It's okay for things to be, instead of everyone trying to like squash down on people and their moments and their experiences, because that is all it is. Like that's all life is it's not just like, your life isn't a total. It's like, it's moments and it's things meaning something. And so yeah, I think to your point, faith being a huge part of it. And like you said, I think what you're trying to get at as well is you go through that group there's different kinds of personalities.
Totally.
For example,
Will Hughes is nothing like Maxence Lacroix.
Yeah, but like, I was going to say Mateta's nothing like Tyrick Mitchell.
He's chaos, mate.
Yeah, but like, so Tyrick Mitchell, you know, sort of quiet lad, isn't he?
I love him so much.
Quiet lad. Mateta, absolute extrovert. But that's what I mean. I think from 1 to 11, there's just a lot of character.
Adam Walton. In terms of, he's not a religious kid. I don't think. Could be wrong. Right? He has unshakable belief in his footballing abilities. He's not daunted by anything. It's incredible. I saw a quote from him a couple of weeks back, and he said, I can pass the ball sideways and get 100% pass completion. Why would I do that? I played as a 10 as a kid. I know the sort of balls 10s want. Right. So I try to play those balls. If there's an opportunity to play a ball forward, I don't care if I misplace it. I'm trying to score a goal. So he went into that final. Other people could have looked at that and been like, FA Cup final, 21, Man City, he's gone, bring it on.
He was the only player I thought with a bit of calm.
Yeah, he's incredible.
Because understandably, it does feel so big and the Man City fans weren't bad, but it was just impossible. Like, you guys, like, I was looking up to the top, to the bottom. I think I sent you a video, didn't I? And it was just, because that was the third or fourth video, I was like, I wish the Zoom worked better, because when you're at Wembley, it's not that clever. And I said this in my video about that kind of organisation. And like, in terms of the real reasons why Palace have got to this point, I do think that taking ownership of South London and Steve Parish, and if it's not just Steve Parish, he
does it on purpose.
Well, and I think that needs to be done on purpose. And as much as the more the game becomes global, actually, the more you need to look at where you are and what you are, and that alongside, I don't know how, maybe you can enlighten me on this, like how you got the ultras in that spot. See, that is so easy to do, so simple to do, but doesn't always happen, rarely happens.
I mean, look, the ultras thing, our club has it, you know as well as I do. A lot of people think it's cringe, it's pathetic, it's an imitation, right? I don't care what anyone says. You can have your opinion on the HF or not, right? That final has been helped in terms of us winning it by their existence.
Absolutely.
Right? The two tifos, the one in the semi, because there's two, obviously. Right? The two Wembley tifos. Just to give a bit of an explanation for both of them. The first one is a picture of a kid holding a shirt. We beat Man City at the Etihad under Roy Hodgson a few years back. Andros Townsend scored a volley from about 4 miles out. And we won 3-2. And at the end of the game, this kid, I'm not sure what the circumstances are exactly around it, but he goes to games with his grandmother. And he was in the away end, and Andros threw him this shirt, and he's holding it in this picture. It's my favourite Palace picture. Maybe not now, because there's a picture of Ebbs with a cup that's probably overtaking it, right? He's holding this shirt like it's a piece of precious metal, and he's looking at it, and he's got like pure adoration in his eyes. And they put that up as the tifo, and it said, "Take my hand, take my whole life too," because obviously that's the song. That was the first one. The second one they raised 50 grand for.
The second
50 grand.
I was crying my eyes out watching Eurovision on Saturday.
Mate, so Chris Richards put in for it. Dean Henderson put in for it. And I'm thinking to myself, like, 50 bags is a lot of money.
Did you know about it before it happened?
What?
That tifo?
Well, I didn't know what it was going to be.
Right.
So one City fan on Thursday or Friday, he said to me, apparently it's a dig at us for not selling tickets. And I was like, surely not.
Yeah.
Like, PR-wise, that would be the biggest own. They're just not going to do that. Right? Yeah. Imagine 50 grand of the fans' money, and they end up doing that. It's not going to happen.
That would have been devastating.
So the second one is, once again, an image of a guy clutching his two sons. That was after a goal that Darren Ambrose scored. Once again, about 40 yards out at Old Trafford, 2011 FA Cup quarter-final. Sorry, League Cup quarter-final. And that picture was the celebrations for it on Sky Sports, and the camera panned to our end. I was there that night. It was an incredible night for us. And he's holding his two kids with just exhilaration and just love in his eyes. He's completely bowled over by the fact this goal's gone in. And unfortunately, that particular guy passed away a few years ago. Palace did like a mini documentary with the two boys. They still go. They had no idea this tifo was going to happen either. And that was the image alongside all the flags, and when we win, Wembley will shake and it will be beautiful. And they've just smashed it.
Yeah,
like, ultimately, and people can talk about ultra culture and how it's not part of our way. Tell the players that. Like, tell the players that didn't help them find the extra 2 or 3% they needed. Because they understand. I mean, look, the full-time whistle, how many people were crying? Like, everybody.
I'm sure you've seen the video as well where it's literally just going round from person to person and absolutely every single one of them is weeping. And again, I think that's it. It's like, I would be too. Like, of course you would. But it's so funny that, like, it's just football, but it's also absolutely not. Like, it's...
Do you know what it is? I think, you know, like when I'm married, I'm happily married and hopefully, you know, will be for the rest of my life, right?
I should get that.
But, you know, like if you're trying to find somebody and you feel like the more you try, the less chance of it happening, right? I'd made my peace with us not winning anything. I'd sort of accepted. I'm not sure exactly when, probably around 2018, 19, like this 12th place thing.
I feel like I'm there at the moment.
As soon as you fully accept it, and then someone like Oliver Glasner comes in, and because his mentality, Jim, is completely alien to what... I don't want to turn this into a dig at Roy Hodgson, but Roy Hodgson's whole thing was accept your place within the landscape. Yeah. Crystal Palace fans have been spoiled over the years. That's what he said. Like, with all due respect, that is absolute bullshit. We have not been spoiled. We're a big club. Yeah. We have every reason not to do this, but to dream of it. Yeah. Like, well, you didn't squash people's dreams. Yeah. What are you doing?
Don't create a ceiling.
Like, my old man used to say, Roy Hodgson's absolute dream is 38 0-0. Because you don't concede and you stay up every year. Yeah. But that's not what fans want. No. You want to believe that you... And Oliver Glasner has come in and he hasn't said, we're going to take over the game. He's gone, dream. Allow yourselves to think about this. Yeah, why And he's
not?
Gone and delivered.
Yeah.
He's automatically the greatest manager in our history. He's been here 14 months.
Amazing. Like, I just work through the players for a second because I think Daniel Munoz was given man of the match, and I think rightly so. Once the Henderson thing happens, I think if the sending off thing moment doesn't happen,
I don't think the TV can give it to Dean Henderson.
I think that's I think that's the reason for it. But I think it was. I think he obviously was man of the match. Chris Richards as well. Just a quick shout for him. I thought it was an absolute joke at the back post. Although I do feel like Man City's tactics were somewhat odd to me.
You know, there's a line about Chris Richards, and this isn't me who said it, but someone said it and it made me laugh. Chris Richards loves defending so much, he gives the ball away on purpose so he can do more of it. And that's not fair, because he's actually improved dramatically over the last 4 months. But, defensively, he was a joke.
Yeah. Speaking of Ismail Assar, and again, I think every Palace player was pretty poor on the ball, but I think that's because, it was you're getting closer and closer, so you get a bit giddy and scared, and that's understandable. But Ismail Assar, the amount of times I saw him tracking over, because he did go with that low block. And
he lost all width.
Yeah. But he had to get over to sort of help double up with Doku. I thought they worked really, really hard. Overall defensive unit, 22% possession in the match, conceded 23 shots. But as we said, Chris Richards, I think won 5 of 6 aerial duels, and the bulk of them would have been at that back post. Big blocks as well. Because there you were watching and going, oh, is it now?
Yeah.
Oh, is it now?
It's
coming.
Here
it is. Well, they're 6 yards out now, surely. No. But that's it. Sometimes it's your day. And Kamada as well, who I think... In terms of the praise here, as much as it is about Saturday, as you say, it did feel... It's felt preordained a little bit on Saturday because, as I say, it's boring to talk about the game because if you do, you get into sort of little elements of negativity that you don't really want to drink in. But Kamada, maybe to put the final and the semi-final together, Kamada to sort of turn it around after. I think the fans were pretty fed up with him as well, right? He's really switched it on.
The Dicey thing makes me emotional, because so when he came in, I know this for a fact. Oliver Glasner obviously had him at Frankfurt, and he said, "You've won a Europa League for Frankfurt. Come with me to Palace, and we'll win them their first trophy." That's what Dicey said in his first interview. Oh, wow. Right? And I don't know if you've seen his Instagram post. He said, "It's the hardest season of my professional career," but and a picture of him with a cup, right? He's on the royal steps where they've all got and he tried to pass it to Ben Chilwell without lifting it because he didn't feel worthy of lifting the cup. Like,
oh my God.
This guy, he wants to be adored, right? And he will be forevermore now because he's part of the greatest squad we've ever had. But it felt like, to me, he didn't want to come on in games because people groaned when he came on the pitch. He's here again. Yeah. And the semi and the final, my personal belief is that he is better on big pitches. And as you well know, Selhurst is a tight ground, small pit. He tries to do things that you need, like Spurs away, like perfect for him. You know, Arsenal away, he's got space to operate in because he finds those pockets. He was instrumental in the goal.
Yeah.
You know,
great little pass back to him.
He's a very good footballer. He's struggled, I think, in the first 4 or 5 months to understand what a Palace player is. And I know I don't want to, you know, the realms of like the Tottenham way or the West Ham way, but Palace have a very specific way of playing, particularly in midfield. Yeah. You need to be combative but controlled. Yeah. Like Jefferson Lerma, it just is us.
Yeah.
And Dicey, I think, he got sent off against Fulham because he went flying into a tackle. And he's obviously trying to do it, but he's not equipped to do it. So he's had to work out his own way. But just knowing how much he wanted to be adored, it hurts.
I think I think that's interesting as well. Maybe like the phases of a signing as well. So because when he comes in, everyone's kind of going, well, at least he's gone. Can you?
Yeah, be that.
You're
guy.
creative, aren't you? You're kind of a 10. Go on, you be that guy. And that obviously didn't totally work straight off the bat. And then your confidence goes a little bit,
especially when you know the fans aren't having it.
Yeah. Whereas this setup with Sarr in there, it now works much better. Where he can be, you're saying to him, be neat and tidy, work really hard. Do the simple
things.
Yeah. And it's like the burden's not on you. It's and he's stepped up massively as well.
Could I also touch on Ebbs, by the way? Because Ebbs
all day long.
Ebbs, look, there's been. It's very strange with Ebbs because I know you love him to bits and always have. And I remember coming on an episode of The Ripple Effect with you. We're talking about Ebbs and Michael before Michael left, and I said to you, with all due respect, mate, I love Ebbs, but come on. And you said to me afterwards, like, I now get what you mean. Michael is unbelievable.
Yeah,
Michael could go on and win a Ballon d'Or. He could actually do that in his career. It's not beyond the realm.
It wouldn't be the best speech, but
no, it'd be better. It would be the most iconic speech of all time. Yeah. Anyway,
it'd be cold.
Right? Ebbs has had not a reputation, but over the last year or so, there were voices within our fan base of like, not he's a flat track bully, but we need him to turn up in big moments like Wilf did or like Michael did back in the day. And he hadn't really done it. And you look now, he scored the opening goal of a quarter-final in FA Cup. We won it comfortably. Scored the opening goal of a semi and scored the winner in the final. His legacy is now greater than any of those players that we put above him before. And it's incredible. Like for 3 months, he has been that guy. And I'm not sure what changed. He's stopped, for me, getting a ball and standing still on it. Or at least stop standing still and passing it back. He's like, he stands still because he can look after you couldn't get the ball off him for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But he's waited for people to catch up and then progressed the ball. And he's turned up in the right place at the right time. And he's just the most lovely human being.
Yeah. I think that's what, it's more that as much. Well, it's like, if you've got a checklist of what you want from someone, I want someone who's had a bit of a journey. I want someone who is has a humility that just kind of oozes out of them. Also is effervescent, so you want to be around them. I want someone who can make me get off my seat and make me do things that go, oh, I can't wait to get back and see that again. Like in terms of the art of football, to not be a robot, to be able to do little touches that you just not either seen before, but certainly couldn't do. And also actually, weirdly, like my critique has always been his sort of maybe killer instinct or finishing.
It's exactly that.
And
that's changed.
And actually, that kind of it's nearly a likable trait because you're kind of like,
yeah, but not the little engine that could, but you're like, you know, you've got this in a locker. You just need to do it more often. And yet now he's done it more often.
And I think I wonder if he would have had a very different journey if he was a bit more of a prick. Like, I wonder if he would have, Arsenal don't get rid of him because he would have gone, or whatever it might have been. Who cares, right? Because actually, the road back round allows, you know, again, everything we're talking about is like, sometimes you can't go round stuff. You have to go through it. That's why it's the whole point of having the opportunity to show courage is because there's something in front of you and you have to go through it to get to the other side. And Eze, to have that.
And that faith that he's got, which is central to him, has allowed him to deal with all of those setbacks. Like the injury that he got. You know, he got injured, long-term injury, and he had that text on his phone saying he'd been called up to the England squad. Yeah. When he went back to the changing rooms. A lot of people, that crushes them. But he has never been crushed. He's come back stronger. He's done. And that is such an admirable thing, but it's just him all over.
Yeah.
I I keep on going back to it, Jim, right? You said you watched Oliver Glasner's speech, right? At the end of that, he hands it over to Joel Ward. And Joel Ward said, everyone in our team over the last 12 years, we've reached our ceiling, and our ceiling is your floor. What a statement that is. It, like, as a parting way, that's incredible. I watched it and was like, fucking hell.
Yeah. It's wonderful, man. Like, it's really, and that's it. You kind of, I say it all the time, like, sort of hard-earned glory is the one. Like, there's nothing like it. And I think that's why with the because I think that's it. As a group, as a fan base, there's an opportunity for you to play. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can watch it, or you can play and support and be a difference maker. And it's certainly, and it was certainly the case. So what about now? What do we do now? Mate. So what you've got European tour?
I'm doing all of them, man.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny. I'm not sure whether this is PC enough to talk about on here, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. There was one particular guy, I got tagged in it a few times. Some Man United fan, I think he's about 20. And he was like, I can't wait to see some Polish ultras hang HLTC upside down by his wheelchair.
No.
And I was like, yeah, on one hand, you just brush it off. On the other, it's like, am I that rent-free in your head? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, one, as you well know, I'm not in a wheelchair. I think people hear the word disabled. They think I am something I'm not. Yeah. Right? But I don't, it's really weird. You know my relationship with social media. I'm very much not, I don't live and die with it, but like it bothers me because I just want to talk about football and be positive about it. I just literally, I don't know if it's just the sort of buzz of the last few days. I don't care. I'm like, fine, mate, I'm going. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And that sense of contentment that Crystal Palace have given me, I think is going to make me far calmer in terms of anything that people want to, because I don't give a shit anymore. Like, I don't care, Jim.
But you can't not give a shit just because you won a trophy. There's something else.
It's
at play
a link.
Here, isn't it?
It's like a life contentment. Because as I said to you at the very beginning, if you choose to support Crystal Palace, you are swimming upstream by choice, ultimately. And sometimes you can feel like, it's never going to be us, and that you almost develop an inferiority complex or a little man syndrome. You know what it's
Imagine
like.
being a little man.
I know.
Look at me.
Right, well, let's not go too far. But, you know, doing this, it gives... I got home on Saturday at 3:30 in the morning, and I sat on the sofa in my back room and went onto Wikipedia and looked at the honours section of our page, and it just said FA Cup winners. And then there's now a section that says European record on it. It says Crystal Palace Europa League stage 25. It's nuts, Jim. Yeah, even if we lose all 8 games.
Do you think that is it one where it's like, in terms of who you are, when someone's throwing something like that at you, maybe something else allows you to go, it's a weird validation, but on a long way round, it allows you to go, I'm happy with who I am.
Yeah, fully.
Yeah.
It's such a weird thing.
Fuck off, can't they?
But ultimately, I've seen this clip of Joey Barton talking about people congratulate fans like they've played, right? And I sort of get that. You know, you're just someone who watches on, right?
But again, you're being powered by such an angry force.
But look, my life, for my entire existence, has been dominated by this football club. And in a professional sense, I've had HLTCO since 2011. I've written thousands of blog posts. I've done thousands of podcasts. I devote so much of my time to this club, and I would do it 1,000,000 times over, with or without trophies. But having that in the back pocket, and knowing that you've done the yard, you've watched us lose 4-0 home to Scunthorpe, you've watched us lose 2-0 home to Crewe on a Tuesday night. We've been in administration twice. I've seen it, and I've seen us win an FA Cup at Wembley. You can't take that away from me.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're not me, and I am not them, but ultimately, people... whether it's you, whether it's people in my life, the first thing they ask me is about Palace.
Yeah.
It's like part of me.
Yeah.
So from now on, I'm not saying it won't ever get to me, but it didn't get to me in the same way. I was just like, whatever, mate.
But I guess maybe that's it, is where it's like, so your mindset moving forwards is like, I'm happy to invest.
Crack on, mate.
Like for you, like, I'm sorry, like I'll see you later, because that's an alien mindset.
It won't bother me anymore.
Yeah.
Genuinely,
great,
it's mad.
So stepping into the Europa League and dreaming of that, there's no reason why you can't go deep in that, is there?
Don't. You know, Glasner, I haven't seen this quote. I've been told about it. He went, this is straight after the game. He went, it's a new era for Crystal Palace. We're a Europa League side now. I've won this competition already. There are 2 English sides in the final, and next year I want to be one of them.
Nice. Do you think, in terms of the group, do you think it gives you, do you think you can keep that group together?
So
that's one of the problems with success.
Well, no, it's like the two pressing issues are Mark Gay and Abir Eze for different reasons. Mark Gay has 1 year left on his deal. He hasn't signed a new one. We all know why. Like, you want to go and test yourself at the top level. I personally, and I have no inside track on this, I personally believe Steve Parish will get this sorted. For at least in the immediate. We will either go, look, Mark, you can leave for free like Wilf did in a year's time, but you are here because you are our captain, you are South London, you will lead us in the Europa League. Or we get in a situation where he signs a 4 or 5 year contract with a release clause that is 12 months delayed.
Right.
And that way, locks in money for us. He knows that he can also do that and put that out of his mind. Yeah, you've got to bear in mind as well, this is a World Cup year.
Yeah.
Like, this man will want to go to a World Cup. And you could go to a Liverpool or an Arsenal or wherever, Spurs. You don't know you're going to be starting.
Left,
right?
Could go left.
If you can't, if you have Palace, well, he's our guy. He's our captain.
Yeah.
Right? You play every week. Thomas Tuchel's not going to drop you out of the squad. You're in Europe, for fuck's sake. So I think that's a very doable thing. Ebbs is slightly different because Ebbs has this release clause. I think it's 68 mil. Prior to this run, I would have said no one's spending 68 mil on a Crystal Palace player who's nearly 28 years old, who's on 120 grand a week. They're just not doing it, right? But the recruitment of top clubs will look at this last 3 months and say, that's worth the dough. And if he goes to a Liverpool or an Arsenal or Spurs or wherever it might be, he will do so with everyone's best.
Do you know as well, I was thinking, I was watching the Man City game, I was getting so frustrated because I was like, just fucking play it. Like, play it. Just, it went, obviously, I played shit level, right? And I'm nobody. But because I was limited and we had a really great player in front of me, my job was get it, see it, and get it to him. However I got it to him wasn't that important. The important thing is I got it to him as quickly as possible. If you put Eze in that Man City team, I think like in those tight little spaces, I think he'd really enjoy it.
He probably would enjoy it. And ultimately, look, if he leaves, because of what he's done, like it's like Eintracht Frankfurt fans love Oliver Glasner. They just because he won the Europa League. It doesn't matter that he left in sort of not ideal circumstances. I think he sort of wanted the club to kick on, and they didn't kick on in the way that he wanted, transfer wise, whatever. But they love him anyway because of what he's done for them and their lives, and he's big on that. Ebbs is like this now. Like no one at Palace will ever have a bad word said. He's our boy now. He was our boy before, but now it's like until the wheels fall off, you're our boy.
Yeah. It was fun. I mean, obviously we got good money for him, but you
didn't really.
Maybe in hindsight, but yeah. Well, no, I think we got 1.5 for the FA Cup.
Did you?
I think we might have got something like that apparently, hopefully. But he left and it was one where you're like, look, good luck to you.
Yeah, like, because he's such a nice guy as well.
Yeah, totally.
So look, they're the two. Beyond that, I keep on hearing people going, "You'll lose Walton." No, he won't.
No.
He's got 4.5 years left on his deal. He's 21.
He's not problems with injuries as well.
He's not pushing for a move away.
Yeah,
right? It's a World Cup year. He's not really played much this season. And Steve Parish, I keep on going back to this. He got £50 million for Aaron Wan-Bissaka in 2019. If we sell Adam Walton this summer with the uncertainty over Gay and the uncertainty over Eze, 125 mil. And it won't be less than that. Why would it?
Right.
There's no pressure whatsoever to sell. We're in the Europa League. Oliver Glasner wants to increase the size of the squad, and he's our best midfielder. We're not going to do it, are we?
Yeah, you make a good case. And I think also like something that I hadn't focused on really was, like if you can chuck in these little clauses here and there at the right time, then maybe that's where things are moving. But also in terms of like the progression of the journey, like I think they'll have a new perspective. Some of those guys as well, like Mark Gay and that World Cup year, got to be playing in the Europa League, going deep in the Europa League if you can, which is obviously
it's not beyond the realms. Flav said it to me the other day. He went, mate, you've taken 10 points out of 12 off us and United, and we're in the final.
Yeah,
don't. He said some of these teams.
When you got a manager who's done it as well.
Some of these teams are not as good as you, Dan.
Yeah.
Like, you've only got to finish in the top 24.
Then you're in the Champions League.
Don't. Honestly. Imagine Oliver Glasner just keeps on levelling up. We were in a pub. We were in a pub on Sunday.
Yeah.
And my mate went to me, imagine this is just like the start of 10 years of us actually. And then all of a sudden we become like one of English football's greatest teams.
Yeah, slow down.
But that's what you do in the 24 hours after, because it's like, well, where's the ceiling?
But yeah, do you know what? So, final question on Palace. If you won the Europa League next year, do you think that's more potent than this one? Can it be?
Who
gives a fuck?
I'm still in the, I think they call it the pink cloud.
Right.
I'm still in it. I can't imagine anything feeling better than this.
I don't think you can get more powerful than this.
It might be close to the same.
Yeah.
It will be different.
Yeah.
Because let's be real, if we win the Europa League next year, because we are going to rinse this for as long as we, like forever. Right? Fully. Like, no, I played it in a car. I teared up, I had to pull over.
Really?
I had to pull over.
Honestly, I don't know. Yeah. It feels like Football Manager, does it?
Fully.
Yeah.
Because I have done that on Football Manager so many times, Jim, and I'm like, come on. And he's 14 months he's done this. First full season.
Do you know what I thought? I messaged JCC, John, and I thought, I tell you what, your fan base as a whole next year, if you get to the quarterfinals or even the first round, take it fucking seriously. Take it seriously.
Will.
You're a mid-table Premier League team. Take the FA Cup seriously, because that is like one. It's more than once in a lifetime. Because I'm looking at that and going, like, that's just not gonna. That's not in. Like, I've got Piers. We had Piers from Boxer Rebellion here. He's a Southend fan. Like, he's like, I mean, I hope he does. But like, that's not gonna happen.
It's also
for him,
becoming harder to do.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
How many 120-year-olds do you know? You've got about once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
But that makes it so special.
Because
I sort of know that this is the peak. And if it's not the peak, fantastic. But I'm calm.
Yeah.
Calm with it.
Yeah, so yeah, it's sort of, you've got enough in the tank now forever.
Yeah, I'm 36, mate.
Yeah, you're
like,
sweet.
It's mad. I could go back to Selhurst in 40 years' time, 76-year-old man, and like Jefferson Lerma will turn up and be like, I love that man.
Yeah.
Because like you know it, like Stan Bowles and QPR legends will rock up, and you know who they are, but you didn't live through that.
Yeah.
I've lived through this.
Yeah.
And I've not just lived through it as like a 15-year-old. I've lived through it at like the best time in terms of understanding what it means to my dad and my mate's dad, and also all of my mates that I go with. Like, we all are just beside ourselves, because when you're in your mid-30s and you've lived through the shit, it makes it so much better.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And I don't even think it's like when Leicester won the league, because that was so unexpected. They were probably just like, we're on a ridiculous roller coaster here. We don't even know what's happened.
Yeah, I think the difference maybe with Leicester is that it would have been weeks and weeks of maybe not the same intensity, but utter disbelief. Like, what on earth? Like the sort of glow of it, the high of it.
Yeah, is prolonged.
And
also bonkers.
Whereas like, yeah, like if you go, it's like what? It's like fuck, it's heroin, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like one proper shot.
So my mate, so this is a mad thing. My mate, and I'm not going to take up any more time talking about Palace, but I want to say this.
It's fine, man.
Right, he's my best man at my wedding. Right? He moved to Colombia like 9 years ago. He'd never met my wife, came back from Colombia to be my best man. Right? He's come back from Colombia. I got married in 2018. Come back from Colombia last week. He's an Arsenal fan. Right? And he's coming with me and my mates to Selhurst tonight to be there for that. And I haven't seen him since my wedding, pretty much.
Wow.
And he said to me, if you win this, Dan, like he said, pressure is a privilege. As an Arsenal fan, don't think I don't know what this feels like, because we've been in Champions League finals and we've never won them. Right? If you win it, like they did with the unbeaten season, you will be chasing that high for the rest of your life. But you won't desperately need it. You just want it again.
Yeah.
And that feeling is something that you can't explain to anyone else until you've had it. Yeah. But everyone should experience it once, and he's bang on.
Yeah, spot on.